Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Creamery. It's me, Kai Will, and I'm here. We're back. It's been 2 weeks, 2 weeks-ish. Seems to be my thing. I come back every 2 weeks just to do a little bit of chatting or whatever. I haven't played a game on stream since last year. So, yeah, I mean, we reached our goal in Stardew Valley. I got the community center done, and I think I was just kind of like, I'm gonna take some time off, at least from playing that game. And streaming, I guess, in general, because I didn't stream for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I took another 2 weeks off. But I'm here to talk today on a Tuesday. Usually I tend to go to open mics on Tuesday nights. I went the last 2 Tuesdays, and I was thinking about doing it today, and it's just been so cold. That's the first thing I'll talk about. It's just, it has been so cold here the last few days. It's been getting like negative in the morning. I woke up today, it was 0 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So it's cold. It's very cold. It's snowing on and off here and there. The sun is out, but like it's like a false prophecy. It's like, oh, the sun has shined its light on me today, and you're like, I'm gonna go outside and be warm, and then you step outside and you're fucking, what the fuck? It's like I breathed in weird. And then you walk outside and your fucking like boogers are freezing or some shit like that, which is not cool, and you don't want that to happen. But because I decided not to go to open mic and everything, I had some good energy today. I felt like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to do a little stream. Probably do just about an hour, maybe 2 of chatting. I think I said that the last time I did a just chatting stream, and I ended up chatting for 3 hours. So anything can happen. Anything can happen here in the Creamery. So last time I was here, I just talked about kind of what I was doing. I guess you could kind of over my winter break, kind of, where I wasn't streaming a lot. And then I've taken the last like 2 weeks off as well. Not necessarily like as a plan. I will say that just, I don't know, around last Saturday or Sunday, I just got hit with some big emotions. Just like I was just feeling really overwhelmed. And I went to open mic on Tuesday and last week, and after I got done with open mic, so it was like, yeah, no, like Saturday and Sunday I was doing everything preparing for my Rite of Initiation stream that was over on the Fallen from the Stars Twitch channel, which went really well, and that's actually, the full stream of that is available on the Fallen from the Stars YouTube channel, which I will, again, as I always like to do, I'm going to throw that in the chat if you want to go check out. There are links to the YouTube and Bandcamp in the panels down below this channel, down below Kai Will, or you can go check out the Twitch, the Fallen from the Stars. Just, maybe follow over there or something, get that going. Because there's going to be another stream. I tend to talk promos for my music stuff here when I start streams. My next music stream is going to be on the 31st, January 30th. I don't want to say, it's not the 31st, it's the 30th. It's a Friday, next Friday, and that is going to be the Return to Roots stream, which is going to be pretty different from the last one where I was doing everything with my MIDI keyboard and doing a bunch of ambient, like, electronic stuff. This is, I'm going to set up one mic over my piano, and I'm just going to sit at the piano. I'm going to play 2 of my albums that I know for certain I can play. They're EPs, but they're 2, original works. The Siege EP, which was the first I ever released, and then RL Heirlooms, which came out last June. Both of those are available on my Bandcamp if you want to go give them a listen. And yeah, so I'll be playing those just in their entirety, pretty much all the way through, no stops. I'm not planning on I might take like a small break in between the EPs, but I'm trying to do as much of like just pushing my music forward and trying to, have it smooth transition. So should be a lot of fun next Friday. And then yeah, that's kind of where the music stuff is going on. If you want any information about that, again, Fallen from the Stars, there's a bunch of links everywhere. And I'll get back into kind of where what happened for me. I kind of shut the fuck down last week. I just after I went out last Tuesday, I think it was like Wednesday until like maybe Friday or Saturday, I was just in this like weird funk where I didn't want to. I just didn't want to leave like my house. I didn't leave my house. I didn't go anywhere or do anything. I hardly was seeing anyone. I was doing my best. I was keeping myself, well fed, hydrated, all that kind of stuff. I was doing all that. But yeah, it definitely took something was just in the air, and I was feeling funky. And I kind of holed up and just watched a bunch of YouTube, some Twitch streams. I got into some different YouTube channels because I think last time I was talking about trying to move away from certain types of content that I had been watching that I felt was like kind of bringing me down a little bit. And so I moved more into watching content that was like a little bit more informational, kind of fun, like learning stuff from different channels. And I've been in a weird for me, I guess, but in a bit of a deep dive into a topic that always seemed interesting to me, but I always kind of avoided it because it's kind of about, it's about religion, right? It's theology, like actually studying like the different texts or whatever like that, and how they came about, like where they came from, the actual histories of, like the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, like all these different things that people pull from, and like how much actual history is in them and how much of it is just, like whatever. And it's kind of interesting to actually learn, because like I'm not a religious person by any means. I was not raised religious. I never went to church as a kid. Like the story I always tell is I was baptized technically as Presbyterian, but the first time we ever went to actually go to church when I was a kid, my memory is my parents got in a fight on the way to the church in the car, and when we got to the parking lot of the church, we turned around and went home, and we never went back to. We never tried to go to church again. And like I said, not a very religious upbringing. I was very much more. My dad's a geological engineer, so he was more like science all the way kind of guy. And my mom wasn't. She was mostly just doing her dance stuff. So didn't have a super religious upbringing. I think I had like a youth Bible or something that I read, so I knew like the kind of general idea of some of the biblical verses and stories or whatever. So it's very interesting now, like at 33 to be like, I don't know anything about religion, because like I said, I've never been religious. Now, I have changed from like, I wouldn't say I'm not spiritual. I'm extremely spiritual. I believe in other things outside of the power of us or out in the universe. I think there's some invisible force. I don't think it's the Christian God that is like tends to be kind of humanized or has like hands and can like do whatever. It's more like an energy, like a source energy or something that I would say is kind of where I'm at. So again, spiritual, but I don't follow any particular religion. And recently it's just kind of being spiritual has led me into where do these religions kind of, how does all this tie in? Because there's obviously spirituality in religion. Religion is just kind of a way to guide you through spirituality. That's kind of how I would see it as. And it kind of, I think it's been, I guess would say bastardized, kind of taken too far in the three major religions are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, right? So those three big ones are the ones where it's like, man, like they just took it like, this is the only way you can be spiritual is our way. And it's just, So it's been interesting learning all about all of these different things, going on a bunch of different little deep dives. And I've been listening to like podcasts, watching YouTube videos. I've been reading some books, not theology books. I've only been doing YouTube stuff for theology. And then the other stuff I've been watching is just kind of random, kind of, I guess the best way to put it would be pop culture podcasts. But it's like, so it's even, one is specifically kind of like, it's Twitch streamers. So it very seems like they're talking about Twitch pop, like things that are happening in Twitch or whatever. And sometimes that's fun to listen to. Sometimes it's just kind of like, it is a bunch of, top Twitch streamers complaining about their wonderful lives. and as somebody, I'm just sitting here, I'm like, it's kind of funny to hear them talk that way. Like, oh yeah, this thing happened and blah, 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 blah. It's like, but aren't you making, don't you? But then again, you realize that they're all still human and they do still have, shit that happens to them. I can't deny that. However, let me get aside from where I was at. I was in a bit of a rut last week, is what I would say. And the thing is I've come to recognize that when I'm in a rut, when I'm feeling that kind of like energy being lower, I need to listen to it. It's usually my body telling me, you're doing too much, you're overworking yourself, slow the fuck down. And so I did listen, and I took most of last week to just kind of rest. I wasn't trying to force myself to make promos for music or stream or, release anything. I was just like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna relax. And I knew I had a big thing I was excited to go to on Sunday, which is what I'm gonna talk about now, because it was so much fun. So, you guys, if you haven't heard me talk about ecstatic dance, I'm gonna talk about it again right now because that's how I met this community, and I think it's really cool. Having like how I got in there, and it's actually it's kind of crazy that I even am able to be a part of this community, or have even known this person that like I'll get into it. So I guess I can start from the beginning. So for the ecstatic dances, it would be last year during this time. Me and Lauren were separated, but not like yet divorced, and she actually went to one of the ecstatic dances because we'd been talking about going for a while. And she went by herself. And we were still talking at the time because we were going through everything, going through all the logistics. But when she went to the dance, she said, "Hey, like I went to this dance. It seems like exactly your vibe. You have to go to this." My ex was telling me that, and so I didn't end up going to an ecstatic dance until June. The actual first event I went at this space, it was my friend's space. The first event I went to there was actually a chakra toning meditation sound bath, which is a lot. It's a kind of a lot of words there, but essentially, what happened is we came in and the facilitator, the guy like leading the event, was sitting there, and we went through the different. There's different. I guess. Vowel sounds associated with each of the 7 chakras in your body, and you go through and sing that specific like ah, ooh, or e 7 times, because 7 chakras, working your way up from the root chakra all the way to the third eye, and then kind of like after that you laid down on your mat or whatever, and we had some people with like sound bowls and like walking around, and just like I cannot begin to describe how amazing of an experience that was. And it was like, I'd never had anything like that before. I feel like I had a slight, like, transcendent experience just from this meditation, like these sound bowls. And then, like, I came back into the space, and I was just like, I felt lighter. I felt really good. It was pretty awesome. And so I was like, I definitely want to go to one of these ecstatic dances. And the next couple of months were a little rough because, the divorce and everything. So I wasn't able to go until I think it was June was the first dance I went to. And June or July. And this one was outdoors. It was phenomenal. There was like water guns and water balloons and like a very small like slip and slide kind of area, like a sprinkler going, and just like this DJ up there just spinning these fucking tunes, and everyone's like, no one has any phones out or anything. The idea of these events is for everyone to be there sober, so no substances. You're not vaping, you're not on your phones, you don't talk to anybody for the entirety of the set. You just kind of come in there.
Spreading good cheer, spreading that cartwheel all the year.
Thank you so much, Elliot Ferrer. I appreciate your resub. Ooh, and you have your hot. Well, gee, thanks. I do be looking good. I've been working out a little bit. Elliot, let me give you some of that hype for 7 months. Thank you for the 7 months, Elliot. I really appreciate that. I forget sometimes that people can subscribe here. As I don't stream that often, and anybody who does subscribe to somebody like me, where I only stream like 2 or 3 times a month, really appreciate you. How you doing, Elliot? It is nice to see ya. It's funny, so it's Elliot and that the Fey Ren. I saw that on a license plate recently. I was driving around and I just saw that. I was like, that seems like a very, like, that's a very specific vanity plate. And it made me think of you. But I hope you're having a good Tuesday. Hope everything is going swimmingly. I was just talking about going to ecstatic dances and how fucking much fun those were. And actually, if you want to read a little blog post I wrote about ecstatic dance, you can go to my website, which it would be Neocities, or the Creamery.neocities.org. It's one of those things. It's on Neocities. I can send a link in the Discord at some point, if anybody wants to read that blog post about ecstatic dance, because I did make one, and it goes into a lot of detail of like where ecstatic dance comes from originally and like how it kind of stemmed out. And to what it is now. And really it is it's a nice experience, because the idea, I'll get into it a little bit more. The idea is to get out of here and drop into your body and your heart. Like, move in whatever way you feel feels good. Move all of that energy that's stored up, like, whatever, in your body out of you. And it doesn't matter if it looks weird. It's not supposed to be about, like, you know, looking cool or, like, being, like, the fucking whatever. It's just about moving to the music, you know, and don't feel, and sometimes another thing is you don't even have to move. Some people just lay on the fucking ground and meditate. It's more of a meditative experience. It's not about, you know, there's no substances, again, no talking. You're not on your phone. So it's not about partying. It's not like, it has the same vibes, like the setting feels like you're in like a club at a rave or something, but the vibes are entirely different because no one's drunk. You know, you don't have a bunch of dudes, like if you're a woman, you don't have a bunch of dudes who are coming up to you trying to like hit on you who are drunk and be like, hey babe, I gotta see you here. You wanna dance with me? I don't think that's how they do it exactly. They're grinding their dick on their, anyway, that doesn't happen at these ecstatic dances. It's much more comfortable. Everything's consent-based and just a loving community, and you can sense it when you walk into the room. Doing well, thanks. Yeah, today is a good day. I'm doing great. I'm kind of doing a long backstory on why I'm feeling so good and like where this week is leading me to. Kind of why I wanted to do a little stream. It's going to be a very short stream today, probably about an hour or two. Because there's a little bit of a reason I wanted to come on here and yap. That's what I need in my life. Yes, movement without, exactly. And the thing is they go, what one of the hosts will say, or the person who lives there, she'll say like, we're not gonna say that people aren't gonna judge you, but you should act like they're not. It's basically like, someone might judge you, but doesn't matter. We're in a space, and then, you know, that's their thing. Because, you know, you come in, everyone sits around in a circle and does like an opening share, and then afterwards, everybody comes back in and shares again to see if like something's shifted, if everything's different. It's such an amazing community, and that leads me into where I was at this last Sunday. So, my water bottle's in the other room, and I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna go run and grab that in a minute here. So on Sunday, this community, it has two parts to it. There's one part that has like just, you know, natural or basic community events like a drum workshop, like come here, make your own drum and everything, our Sacred Rage workshop, these ecstatic dances, just big, like just normal community events. Now, the other side of it is a what is it? It's a nonprofit what's the best, medicine church, using medicine ceremonies from like down like South America, and they offer that as like the second part of like their services there. They recently just merged, and they were having an open house on Sunday. Like, hey, everybody come over. We're gonna share like what our offerings are. We're bringing on a new practitioner, a facilitator, whatever you want to say, to the space, and we want to introduce her and just have like a community potluck. And so I went to that. It was so nice because I'll just, you know, the new person they were adding to this community is actually my therapist, so, who I met through the ecstatic dances. So like amazing, like somatic, very holistic therapist I've been working with, who like specializes in trauma and stuff, which is like something I was like, when I heard her say that, I was like, well, shit. Like, I met her back in like June or July, I think it was, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, and I've been seeing her since September, and I can say that like the tools that like I have been able to add to my tool belt and with that to help me kind of like regulate my anxiety, like she's been amazing. She has been amazing. So I was at this event on Sunday, and it was super fun. I got to see a bunch of people I normally see at the dances, meet a couple new people. I actually met a guy who was like, hey, my ex is like a musician who looks for people to jam, and you seem like a cool guy, but you should hit her up. And now I'm jamming with this girl in a couple weeks. And I'm like, this community is just really fucking cool. And it was really cool to see my I am so grateful that I'm grateful. I feel lucky to even have the opportunity, because I didn't even get into that, but the girl that I knew through that, like, it's a girl and the woman and her husband. I don't know if I want to say their names, because if you look them up, it's very I feel like it's very unique names, and if you looked it up, it would probably pop up and you could see, and you could I might dox myself a little bit. So anyway, it's a husband and wife duo, and they just do such great work together. And I actually know the wife from like 8 years ago, when my roommate was in a polyamorous relationship with her and some doctor or whatever, when she was also dating my other roommate. Anyway, this was this was a while ago, and that's how I met this girl. And then I also met her because she worked at Trader Joe's near me when I lived in a couple places ago, it was in 2022, 2021. And then a couple years ago, I started seeing her. I had just known her on Facebook, and I started seeing her post about these events, like, hey, come to this, ecstatic dance, this ceremony, this whatever. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I should definitely, I definitely want to check that out. And so it's very kind of coincidental that I even tangentially knew this person through Facebook, and then to see her events keep coming up. And then there's other reasons why, because I'll get into it. What I was mentioning, the psychedelic church aspect, the plant medicine aspect of it. But I'm gonna go grab my water bottle before I get into that. You're really freaking cool. You deserve to be in spaces like that. Yeah, polyamory is cool. I'm definitely understanding how much polyamory is important to my person, to who I am. Hype, hype, hype! Zuzu, welcome on in. I'm gonna go get my water bottle, and I'm gonna be right back, but do enjoy the tunes while I am gone. I had some garlic dip before sleep today, Now I'm sitting here and I'm like, ooh. You know what's really pissing me off? I should say pissing me off. You know what's what something that bothers me? This. I cannot stand it when the white balance changes because the color of or how much sun is coming into the room. So I'm changing the auto white balance because I don't care. Oh, there's so much love in the chat. I like to see that. Did this, it looks like I'm super loud today. Maybe I'm just louder than I normally am. I don't know. So I'm gonna get into a little bit more of what I was talking about. So, plant medicine. I want to talk about that, but also I was talking a little bit about polyamory. Yeah, speaking of polyamory, and how I realize how it's becoming apparent when I'm like listening to podcasts or hearing people talk about monogamy or like just like dating, and how I'm like when I hear about it and I hear like a lot of the problems that the people are having, or like how like, oh, this person did this, and it's just like, man, it's not even like polyamory, but like the thing that I think like I've learned from polyamorous couples and from just kind of reading about it is like the communication aspect. And I think that that's just what people are missing a lot from any relationship, is like communicating anything about like their emotions, their boundaries, anything like that. And that's really, really important in polyamorous relationships, in any relationship. But I think it just gets, it gets overlooked in monogamy because it's just like, oh, we're just going to be together. And I've also been, absolutely monogamy can be a tool for possessiveness. That's exactly how I feel sometimes a lot, because I, especially as somebody coming from a marriage where part of the reason that it dissolved was because of I was expressing love for somebody else, and it was like, no, you can't do that. Even though she said if it was anybody else but this girl, I'm like, but I don't believe you. If it was another girl, you'd probably have that too. Oh yeah, it absolutely can happen, and it can happen in any relationship. There's always there can be possessiveness. It really does come down to, I think, communication, understanding, like having the same expectations from the relationship. Because like for me right now, where I'm at, I'm not even a year divorced, only been in one relationship that was my marriage, that was 5.5 years that was a marriage and everything. I'm not looking to date because the way I see dating is it's you're single, you're dating, then you're married. So dating is just like the midpoint to marriage. But I don't want to date like that. I just want to date somebody because it's like, hey, we get along, we're having fun. This doesn't have to end in marriage. It can just end when it wants to end, or it can never end at all. And I think that more polyamorous people are accepting of that kind of relationship. People who are monogamous are like, no, you have to lock down with me and only be with me forever. But I'm like, hey, communication of expectations. That's exactly what it is. The expectations of what you both want from the relationship. And here's the thing is like, I'll be I'll say is when I was, first starting, even thinking about proposing to Lauren, I had been very upfront. I'm polyamorous. This means I'm going to love other people. And this is how it will, I just want to be upfront. Are you okay with that? And the thing was, I don't think I was as clear as I needed to be as to what polyamory entailed, and what she and I don't think she was as clear with me that she wasn't going to be okay with it, because unfortunately she was young and didn't know that that thing. I was young and didn't know exactly what I wanted. I thought for a very long part of my life, because almost all media kind of portrays this, is that if you're a man, your goal should be to find a woman, marry her, and have children. Like that is your goal as a man, is to do that and provide for her. But now I'm realizing that ideal life that I had dreamt of wasn't my ideal life. It was the ideal life that had been shown to me, and I had been kind of brainwashed into believing that was what I wanted. But after going through that and, everything, I think I just want to kind of do my own thing for at least a little bit longer. And, that's where, and I think that it is very much it's much more accepted to just kind of date until it doesn't work, without being like, I'm dating you, and the end goal of this is, if it doesn't work, we split and we're never friends again. And if it does work, we're locked in together forever. That puts so much pressure on that relationship, and I think that's what tends to make people want to leave or cheat or whatever, is because they have this pressure of, well, I have to be this way forever. I'm gonna have to lock myself down. And what if I change in 2 years and he doesn't like the person I become? And it's like, you know, it just becomes, it creates a bunch of stuff. And then usually they're too scared. I can't say that this is for everyone, but a lot of people are too scared to admit that they have some doubts about their relationship with their partner because they think it's going to be a difficult conversation. And of course it's going to be a difficult conversation. You never want to hear that from a partner. So, in Tyler, the Creator's song about polyamory, he expressed that he was really bothered by the idea of needing to be with someone forever. Yes, I think that is a modern idea that has been perpetuated for like what almost like the last like couple of centuries, at least in the States and everything. But I think if you really look, I like to go back and like kind of cite an anthropology class I took in college, where it's talking about in most like, you know, smaller tribal kind of communities or like, you know, societies that aren't like inundated by the modern life, people don't live, you know, in their own little shield off, whole isolated fucking homes with everything's mine. And no, it's you have everybody's in a giant circle, and all you guys maybe have like a hut or something that has like a door that you can just, it doesn't lock or anything, and people just know, and they take care, like, hey, this is my child, but I have to go do the hunting or the gathering or whatever, and then, oh, this other person from the community is just gonna come and walk over and take care of it. I don't even have to think about who's gonna take care of my child. I know that the tribe will. And I think we've just lost that with the society, modern society, because we're like, no, isolate everything, mine, selfishness, separation, but we're not separate. That's an illusion. And I don't need to get into all of that right now either, but yeah. But it doesn't have to be, right? Like, look into relationship anarchy. Guess what we could do? Define our own relationship. Exactly. And I think I'm getting to that point where I'm like, I'm not looking to date anybody in the traditional sense. And so like anybody who, like, if I find somebody who like is like, oh, this person's kind of cool and they want to date, that I already know that that's not going to be compatible. Like, it's so hard though. It's just like, I just want to be with somebody and show them love and give them hugs and cuddles and cook for them. Is that so simple? And maybe we could do some fun, sexy stuff every now and then. I don't fucking know. Or maybe that's what another partner does for me. Exactly. That's the beauty of having multiple loves in your life. Can you guys tell I'm in a very good mood? I've had seeing those people on Sunday, seeing the community, the ecstatic dance community. It's just, it's wonderful. And then on top of that, my bestie came over yesterday and we played Guitar Hero for like 2 hours, and like, that was so much fucking fun. I love playing Guitar Hero with her. It was we were laughing. So I got a thing that happened from. Yeah. Scandalous, loving love? My goodness, what a life. I know, right? You're not allowed to just love who you want to love. It has to be possessive. It has to be my love. You're my love of my life. You're a love of my life, not the love of my life. But again, I know that this is very, you know, polyamory is definitely the odd one out in this case. The norm tends to be monogamy. But I'm not normal, and I already fucking know that, so... But last night, we were playing Guitar Hero, and we were playing Guitar Hero 2, and War Pigs is in Guitar Hero 2. If anybody knows War Pigs... Before the song started, I had a thought in my head. Because I'm me, and I like to just make up stupid lyrics to songs, right? So the song starts, and I'm just like, generals gathered in their masses. All these witches have fat asses. Oh, Lord, yeah. we just broke down laughing for like the first like 30 seconds of the song. I couldn't help myself. All these witches have fat asses. Oh, Lord, yeah. I'm dying. It's like 5 degrees outside and I'm sweating back here. The hell? It's because I'm moving around. Ugh. Which, like, something recently I came across is, you are mine in a way that you belong with me, not to me. Oh, I like that a lot, actually. Ooh, I really like that. With me, not to me. That's cool. Perfect rendition. Yeah, thank you. I had to channel it out there. All right, everybody. We're going to take a moment here to take a couple deep breaths because I've been talking a lot and I can tell that I haven't been breathing as much as I probably should be. So, I'm going to take a minute to kind of lower my energy a little bit, and then I'm going to get into the other part of what I wanted to talk about a little bit today. I mean, we could talk about anything else after I'm done. I just had a particular thing I wanted to get on here and kind of be open and upfront about, because, like, I realized that there's kind of a part of my life that I don't talk about as much on Twitch. I kind of remove, and it is that kind of ecstatic dance plant medicine part. I know I've mentioned it here and there in passing, especially on like Discord calls, but here on Twitch, it's it's difficult to talk about because of some of the legal things. But there are reasons I can talk about it, because it is going through the most legal of channels to get for this to be done. How I'm doing it. Anyway, before I get into that, let's take some 3 deep breaths. You can take them with me if you want. I'm gonna close my eyes and look like a fucking weirdo, but I'm just gonna take 3 deep breaths through the nose, out through the mouth. And if you want to join me, you can. I feel like I want to do it to kind of get my energy back to center, because I'm kind of scattered myself all over in the beginning of stream here. There's 1. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And 1 more deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Ooh, I love putting it out of my mouth. And just like that, baby, we're back. We're back to center. Is my love. She is someone that belongs with me. I do not own them. Unless in a consensual scene. Ooh. I like the sound of that. I just made a very, very weird face. Okay. So now, plant medicine time. And I have been I'd say a strong proponent of the use of plant medicine for mental health. The last, probably at least 3 to 4 years. I was first introduced to the world, through recreational use of such things, but over time, you start to develop kind of a reverence for them and realize that it is more than just, something to make you feel good or something that makes things look different. There's a power to them. They're a useful medicine and a tool for introspection and just like a lot of other things that's hard to kind of dive into without like a prepared speech or anything. But they can be very helpful for certain people in very specific cases. There's obviously cases where you shouldn't do it at all, like with certain mental illnesses like schizophrenia. Some cases of bipolar, if you're on any medications, like certain things can counteract with plant medicines if you're using over-the-counter like drugs or anything like that. Even other substances, marijuana, other drugs like MDMA, those can counteract things. So you got to be very careful with that kind of stuff. And it's moving from when you move from a recreational use into a more medicinal use, you start doing more research about it. You want to know, how is this supposed to be used? How can I use this without it, in the safest way with the least amount of risk? And one of the big things that there's a lot of stigma around the use of plant medicine is, when I say that, I am mostly talking about mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. Although there are all sorts of different plant medicines. There's ayahuasca. There's I think peyote, mescaline, is the active compound or whatever. So there are other types, but most of what I have done research into has been psilocybin mushrooms. They've actually been decriminalized in like 4 or 5 cities in my state, in the state of Michigan. Which decriminalized just means that they're the lowest level of importance to the law enforcement in the area. So they're not supposed to be like going around writing too many tickets or everything. And there's been a huge push to decriminalize that in the entire state. There's a couple of other states in the U.S. that have decriminalized entheogenic plants. Is another way of calling it, another way of saying these things. So through this journey, I have, actually met somebody who offers ceremonies, a medicine ceremony. And for the last year, I've been thinking of sitting in ceremony. And the opportunity has presented itself, and I will actually be doing that this Friday. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on stream and be like, this is the thing I am doing. I am going to be, going and doing something very potentially scary, potentially eye-opening, potentially a lot of things. I don't know. I've never done this before. I have allegedly, for legal reasons, possibly, done it with magic mushrooms, but nothing else. Or, well, I shouldn't say nothing else, but not this. This is like the deep stuff. This is ayahuasca. They're so interesting to me. I hope I think that any experience in the end, yes, in Minecraft, in game, yeah, I'm gonna be taking ayahuasca in game. I'm playing a game right now, everybody. You can't see, but I'm playing a game. It's called Go to Peru. Traveling to Peru. Anyway, I think that any experience, even if it's I've gone through a lot. I've allegedly had my share of experiences on other substances, and that's one of the things that I was gonna say is the risk factors that a lot of people associate with these things have been blown out of proportion, obviously, with fear campaigns and stuff like that. And there is being a much more of a resurgence in trying to destigmatize some of this stuff, because the reason that people may or may not have what quote unquote bad trip is usually because of set and setting. That is one of those, when dealing with psychedelics, that is the main thing that people will talk about is set and setting. And set is your mindset, what your attitude going in, how you're feeling, all that kind of stuff. Any emotions that are coming up, and then the setting is kind of obvious. Where you're at, is it peaceful? Is it calm? Is it familiar? Kind of stuff like that. Yeah, propaganda around drugs. Who would have thought? So, if you're going in intentionally, and you're going especially if you're going to somebody who is doing a medicine ceremony, and they, this isn't just something where it's oh, I'm just going here and la-di-da. I had to fill out medical forms. I had to go through a screening, all that kind of stuff. This is very serious, and you have to treat it seriously. It's not just, this isn't just going and, some people go to music festivals or the club or whatever. That's not what this is. This is about healing. This is about facing your traumas, your inner shadow, and actually trying to understand the different parts and integrating and aligning yourself. Yeah, and that's exactly what with any psychedelic is. If you can't trust, trusting yourself is huge. And that is, I think, the big thing for most people is they don't think that they can handle it, right? Or they're scared. What if I lose myself? What if what if my reality shatters and I have to go to the hospital? That does happen, obviously, and that's why it's important to do your research and to not just jump into it willy-nilly. Talk to a doctor, even if it might be scary to mention it to your doctor. If you because if you have heart problems, if you have certain conditions, there are physiological responses to taking these substances, like increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, things like that. So you want to be aware of that if you're going into, a ceremony or something. And like I said, any facilitator worth their salt is going to ask the right questions. Like, are you on any SSRIs, antipsychotics, basically any prescribed medication from Big Pharma, like, anything like that. What are your traumas? Like, they want to know exactly what you've been through, so like, to kind of better understand what might happen with the experience. That is what I like. That's what you want to look for. Or personally, that's what I would want to look for. And so, having been a part of the community for over like a little under a year, almost a year now, I definitely have built up that a trust within myself of, okay, I can do this. And just, through my other experiences. So, that's what's just something I kind of wanted to put out there. Something that I am going to be doing for myself, and because I love myself, and I really want to, I'm ready. I've been already making a lot of changes in my life, and a lot of positive changes. They've been propelling me in like directions that I never really would have. Like, when I said I've been working out, I actually have been, like, not like going to the gym, but I have my, some dumbbells, and I'll just, every now and then I'll do a little home workout. I like to, go on walks when I can, but it's been too fucking cold for that. I don't have a treadmill or anything. I'm not one of those people that's crazy enough to bundle themselves up to go walk in 5-degree weather. I know some people that will do that. Not me, though. So yeah, I just wanted to be open about what I'm embarking on. So if I come back after this weekend and do a stream, and I seem a little, like maybe there's like hey man, Kyle's energy shifted a little bit. I wonder what happened there. You guys would know why now. And also just kind of be more upfront about that aspect of my life, because it is a part of me. It's a huge part of like what I'm like, kind of what I've been into and like researching in the last couple of years. And so to pretend that it isn't, to pretend that like, no, that isn't, that hasn't been one of the tools that I have found useful in my mental health journey, I think would be completely, it would be dishonest. I would feel like it would be disingenuous, actually. Like, to say, like, oh, I'm doing so well, and it's just because I'm in therapy, and just because... No, like, there are other factors. Everybody's been saying that. I'm actually, I'm having a couple people over next weekend after... So, it's this weekend is when I'm going, and then a week after, I'm having a couple friends over to be, like, share the experience, because everyone is saying that, like, I really just want to know how it goes, and... I'll definitely come on and do a stream as well. we'll talk all about it here, because it's one of those debrief time. It's gonna be interesting, because obviously with something like this, there's a little bit of there's some anxiety, there's some nerves that surround it, because you don't know what the fuck you're up against. You don't know how it's going to affect your body, what you're going to see, what it's going to reveal to you. Because sometimes there are tough moments where it might reveal something you're uncomfortable with. You might find out, wait, like it might show you this version of yourself that you've been isn't who you really are. You've been lying to yourself because it's easy. And I already kind of know that, right? I know that I know a lot of parts where it's been like, that's not me. That was the me that was created to defend me. And then it comes out when I'm in a similar situation. I go right back to that exact same, I'm back to when I was 10 and mom was telling me, if I say jump, you say how high. And then I'm like, I don't like it when people give me directions. And then I'm at work and my boss is trying to tell me to do something, but I view my boss as my mom, and then I break down, right? Like something like that. So there's for example, but it's very useful, like trying to confront these things and realizing like all of the parts of like these things that I'm like, oh, I don't like this. It is part of me. And I just have to accept it and love it and nurture it and say, hey, I get why you're scared, or I get why you're angry, but I love you and we're gonna get through this. So it's definitely an interesting journey I've been on, and I'm glad I'm at where I'm at, and I couldn't be more excited for the future. And that's coming from somebody who has been very depressed in his life, and at some points, you know, being 33, this is a lot. It's a bit longer than I thought I was gonna make it. I'll be perfectly honest. There's this dude who is obsessed with living forever, and he recently did shrooms. He spent the entire time in a sleeping bag. Yes, that's the way. If you're doing it for like introspection and stuff, it's mostly it's recommended to do it with a blindfold on an eye shade and like laying down. But usually when you're doing it like that, you want it to be with like a guided professional, because that can be very scary. He spent the entire time on the floor with a blindfold on. My favorite comment on it was a Twitter reply that said, "Someone let this man go touch a tree." I will say that they're so when you're doing it for like therapeutic use at really high doses, usually they'll go for like the heaviest dose that people would want to go is like, I think about 4 or 5 grams for those journeys, and that's when you do it with an eye shade on, just laying on the floor. There's usually music playing, but if you have like a it's the quote from Terrence McKenna, who was like one of the huge guys who was really into, he was in like the 60s and 70s, I think, really pushing the idea of psilocybin as a healing tool. He was to say, like, when you take a heroic dose, which is about 5 grams is what he had said, but then when you label a heroic dose as 5 grams, that means people are going to be like, heroic dose is 5 grams, I'm going to take 10, you know? So people have obviously gone above the heroic dose. But yeah, when they do that, he's like, it's not supposed to be like, go to a festival and go do this, take a walk in the woods. If you're doing it to heal, do it at night, do it with a blindfold on, do it alone, whatever, if you're comfortable with it. I do think if it's your first time, maybe finding a practitioner or somebody who can guide you through the experience, like
Gift sub, oh yeah, we got a gift sub.
I never hear that song, that alert, so that really scared me for a second. I was like, what? Thank you, Elliot, for giving a sub to Zuzu. Hype, hype, hype. my voice cracked a little bit there. I haven't been talking enough. I'm already feeling this in my throat. I've been very vocal. I've been pushing my voice a little bit more today. I can tell. Reparenting, yes. Reparenting. And what's also nice about that, going back to that, was like the making like my inner child feel safe to come out and actually like be present. And he has been. It helps that, the way I was about to say it would have sounded really fucked up. It helps that my dad has had a total shift in worldview, because like he's a lot calmer now. He doesn't see things the way he used to see them anymore. And now he didn't get there in the same path I did. His was a lot different. He had a head injury. He had a closed head injury. He had on the back. He fell down when he fell down the stairs. He cracked open both the back and the front of his head. And so when I was talking to him about it, he had an NDE, a near-death experience, when he had gone to the hospital. And I think he's had several of them because of his seizures and stuff too. So that, I think, gives you that same kind of experience, that first-hand experience that psychedelics, sort of plant medicine, sometimes can, that allows you to kind of see the world as it is, where there isn't this separateness. We're all connected, that kind of thing, you know? Oh, you guys are so fucking cute in chat. I love it. I love loving my chat. It's so sweet. Let's do it. Yeah, so my dad has had this like shift in perception of like the world and of things, and it's like just to know that like 5 years ago, like there's some things that he says now where I'm just like, man, what happened? I was like, I wish every boomer could go through what you went through. Like maybe not exactly, but like have that mind shift change, because he was like straight boom, like not as bad as some boomers, but he's a boomer. He's like the last year you can be a boomer, but he's a boomer. And so it's like one of those things where I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm just glad because because my dad's had a change in like a heart and perception, and he's gone, been sober and all this kind of stuff. I can get along with him, and I have this like, oh, like, my dad was never my enemy, and can rekindle a relationship with my dad, so it makes me, I'm always kind of start crying thinking about this, but like, the relationship I really never got to have with him growing up, because unfortunately my mom was very, I have found this out kind of later, I don't talk to my mother anymore, for many reasons, but one of them is, my mom, I think it was very obvious to her how much my dad loved me and my brother. So during the divorce, I think she wanted to get back at my dad because she felt like he had wronged her in the relationship, and that's why the divorce was happening, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, I don't know anything too much. I wasn't like, a part of the relationship. I've only heard like what happened back then. Stories brought up from the past, but it definitely seems like my mom was trying to keep me and my brother from my dad, not because she actually thought he was going to be harmful to us because of it, like, he was an alcoholic or whatever, but because she wanted to hurt him, and that's not cool, and like that really sucks. And she definitely was very overbearing. There's a lot of things that my mom did that it's a lot harder. I'm not talking to her, and I don't think I ever will, just because I don't know. I could change my tune on that, but it's been almost 2 years, and I'm just like, I haven't got into the weeds, the thick of things that happened there on stream. But it's like she went the opposite way of my dad. Whereas my dad was like, I'm a boomer, and then he went like complete, like, I feel like he'd be more of like I don't even think he would agree with like Democrats or Republicans anymore. I think I could get him to start being a socialist, right? And so it's like, but my mom, she moved to Florida, and I think that already tells you where my mom stands a little bit there. But she moved to Florida, and then she just went like full stop, just way more boomer than anybody. And to the point where like I will talk to people on her side of the family, like my aunts and stuff, my cousins, but I won't talk to her. And they were like surprised that I told them the reason, or I guess she told them, and she even was racist. That's what it was. But on the phone with my aunts, and apparently, and I'm like, wow, you really have it. And then she tried to reach out to me in a letter recently, like this last year, and instead of being like, I realized that I was viewing things incorrectly, and I said something that isn't okay to say, or blah blah blah, she was like, I'm sorry that we had a disagreement and you couldn't see things my way, and that upset you, but I love you and I want to be able to love you. It was just the most selfish thing I had ever read, and I was like, she doesn't understand why I'm not talking to her. She thinks it's because she thinks it's because I don't love her, or I'm trying to do. No, I love you so much. I want you to know that it's what you did was not okay, and I will not talk to you until you realize that what you did is not okay. And she still doesn't get it. But my aunt, who I have heard her say some choice things, but she said, I would never, what your mother did? I'm like, yeah, exactly. So, my dad is a boomer too, and my goodness, he's become so much better of a person now that he's away from my birth giver. He's the only one who has made an effort to know me as a person. Oh, that's awesome. I'm happy about that. See, it's like not all boomers are a lost cause. Yeah, no, I don't think that's where I'm at with. Yeah, I haven't resorted to calling her my birth giver, but I'll call her Patricia. I'll just call her stupid fucking name. Sorry to any Patricias that might be watching. Patricia. But yeah, I don't think she understands, cause, and here's the reason I know she doesn't understand. It's like, I'll get a little into what happened. It's a story that's like, it's not safe for work. It's Bonnie. That's very boomer coded for sure. Yeah, Patricia. I won't give out my mom's full, like, obviously name, but like her middle name is Joyce. So like two very not great. Anyway. So I was on the phone with my mom about 2 years ago on my birthday. Or for my birthday. She called me for my birthday. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so my mom is one of these people who, when she calls, like, the first thing she'll do is, it's so nice to hear you. It's been so long. You really should call your mother more. And then throughout the entire conversation, it's, you're going to be so sad when you haven't called me and I'm dead and blah, 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 blah. She just guilt trips you the entire time you're on the phone with her. Why haven't you called me? I would know so much more if you called me more. Well, maybe I'd call you more if you didn't give me the fucking 3rd degree every fucking time I didn't do it for 2 weeks. Anyway, don't want to, yeah, guilt. Which feeds my childhood shame that she instilled in me. You're not good enough. Because that's something she did. Hey, you got a B? Why didn't you get an A? You're an A student. You should be getting A's. Anyway, bring bunch of stuff up. I'm on the phone conversation with my mom, and at the time, I hadn't been talking with my brother because he had said a slur in front of me. And I told him that wasn't okay, and he doubled down and kept on saying the slur in front of my friend who is half black. And, yeah, if you just applied yourself, exactly. And so I said, I'm not talking to him anymore. So I told my mom that story on the phone. After about 30 minutes later, my mom brings up what I had said about my brother, saying the slur, and then she proceeds to go on and say it herself. As if she hadn't heard my story at all about why I wasn't talking to my brother. I blew up on her. I hung up on her. I deleted her. I blocked her on everything, on my Facebook, on my wife's, everything. And I stopped talking to her. And I haven't, and I won't, because when I told her, you don't call someone that, her response was, but Kyle, that's what she was. And that broke my heart, because my mom literally thinks that it's okay that people can be a slur. Like that. Like, and I'm like, it's so hard to even admit what the slur is, because it's the slur. It's like, I don't even want to say it. It's the worst. It's like the top dog, the one that everyone's like, you know, like, no, you don't say that. She said it like with her full chest, and then said it again, and then apparently when she was telling the story to my aunt, said it again, as if she clearly doesn't understand that, like, what do you? And that's like, I'm getting like because it's like. And then to send me a letter, and it's like, it's right here. I have a letter right here. And it says something like exactly like, you couldn't understand what I was saying, so I'm sorry that we couldn't see eye to eye. It's like, no, this isn't about seeing eye to eye. Yeah, I was trying to make a point and obviously went about it the wrong way. No. That's not what you did. You were being a bigot, and you said a slur. That is, yeah, you're right. I should burn it. Yeah, I just, yeah, she's, and then, like I said, the other parts of the letter were like, I just miss you so much, and I wanted to love you, and I want you to know how much I love you. It's like, I know how much you love me. But clearly you don't love me enough to understand that when I say don't do this thing, and I'm not talking to you, it means don't reach out to me, don't send me letters, don't send cookies to my dad's house. I didn't ask for a Christmas gift. She sent me cookies to my dad's house this year for Christmas. I don't fucking care. That's not going to make up for what you did. That's not going to make up for all of the childhood trauma and abuse and neglect that you put me through too, that you refuse to acknowledge all of. Because when I confronted her about that like 5 years ago, she's like, yeah, I was pretty bad in the one apartment, but once we moved to the other one, I got a lot better. No, you got worse. You got so much worse. Stop lying to yourself. Sure, you didn't slap me across the face anymore, but you did a... Anyway, I don't need to get deep into the mama trauma here on stream today, but it did kind of come up. Maybe it's good to do this before the medicine, right? Being it all up. In all seriousness, this is a very, serious issue. If you've ever gone through anything like this, my heart goes out to you. I'm sorry if you've experienced it. If any of this is triggering, I'm sorry about that too. Didn't mean to do anything like that. I'm just in a very open and sharing mood today, I guess. Because it's like, I do think that there is a bit about, like, there is some stuff where it's like sharing about it and being like open in public spaces can help other people feel like, wait, actually, maybe it's okay for me to talk about my trauma. Maybe it's okay for me to open up about this, or even go see a therapist about it. Because some people won't even, don't even want to do that. And I mean, like, that's like part of the reason it was hard for me to even accept therapy as a form of help or as a tool was because my mom forced me into it when I was a kid. Because I wasn't doing well enough in school, and she's like, oh, you're just depressed. You need to go to therapy so you could do better in school. Bonnie just updates me on her life, doesn't ask me about my life. She said, I hope you're happy with a life. Oof, that's, ugh. So here's, Patricia likes to rattle on for about 3 to 4 hours every time when we would talk. It would be 3 to 4 hours of what or maybe 2 hours of what she's been going through. And it was the most, like, monotonous, like, teeth-pulling, like, every single thing. She would go through, like, she'd be like, oh, I went to a dance competition this weekend, and then tell me her entire itinerary from, like, the start of day 1 to the end of day 3, like, and then we ate lunch. I think we got it from, like, this place. It was pretty good. And then I was just doing this, and then, this person did, and then she would start telling me about the drama that happened between. It's like, Mom, you're in your 60s. Why are you having drama with these dance women? Like, what the fuck? Like, haven't you figured out how to, like, not, like, take everything personally by the time you reach... Again, I'm not... I keep on getting pulled into this. But, yeah, and then the other part, she might ask me something, but then she'd just be like, how's your brother doing? I don't hear from your brother a lot. Is he okay? Because he's been to, like, he's been through the mental hospital a couple of times, been diagnosed with, like, some stuff, and she is so worried that he's not going to be okay. Fuck. Like, call him. Talk to him. You're talking to me right now. Like, I don't like Ryan. I don't like my brother that much. He's an asshole. Like, he's a, for lack of a better term, a dude bro. I guess that's the easiest way to call it. A tool would be another way to do it. A frat boy. He's an asshole. He's a douchebag. I'm not afraid to say it, and I think he knows it too. But the thing is that because he's 6'7", he literally believes that he's allowed to be a douche. He's like, actually said that. I'm like, you're an asshole. He's like, yeah, but I'm tall, so I can be. That's not how it works, actually, but I don't know where you got that. Your brother, too? Oh, my gosh. Elliot, sounds like we have very similar, we're having lots of alignments here. Whew. I will say that one of the, tall and an ass. They do seem to go hand in hand a lot of the time, right? So I'll sidestep this conversation a little bit here, so we can. I won't dig any more of that up. I'll go more into preparation for the medicine ceremony. I'm probably gonna jump off here pretty quickly. I'm getting a little hungry. I didn't really eat dinner before this. I was just like, I kind of want to go on and just share what's been going on in my life and what I'm preparing for. With just some people, have a nice conversation. And I feel like I've had that. I've done that so far. I really appreciate Zuzu, Elliot, you guys being here today. And sorry, I don't want to use too much. I tend to say guys or whatever as a gender neutral term, so I'm sorry if it offends anybody if I say guys. You folks here in the chat. He's a mama's boy. Literally built a. Oh, jeez, that's a crazy amount of mama's boy. See, like, I would live in, like, a small house on my dad's property if he had, like, a larger property, but I ain't moving to Florida. Ain't no way. Yeah, really appreciate everyone in chat today hanging out. And Elliot dropping the sub, dropping the gift sub. That's always good. I'm gonna start. Winding things down here. But I was going to address the one thing that has been in preparation. There's a couple of things when you're preparing for such a ceremony you want to take into account. I mentioned some of it earlier. It's like, you don't want to do some of the substances, right? But there's also like a diet. You want to stay away from red meat, pork, pretty much everything that's in a lot of the modern like fat, sugar, salt. Like, eat pretty much plant-based as plant-based as possible. Avoiding caffeine, and then the big one, they said for at least a week beforehand, quit smoking marijuana. And I'm sitting over here and I'm like, I'm on like day 4 and I'm like sitting here like, this feels weird. Yeah, I would be so down to chat. I'd be so down to chat. Yeah, we definitely have each other. I'm on Discord like all the time too, so whenever you wanna have a little chat, just let me know. I know it's like the one thing, but I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like it's only for a week, and I know that going through this, like, one of my friends, Curtis, he said this, was like, in life there's always going to be suffering, but sometimes there's like suffering. You have to kind of choose if you're willing to put up with certain things, because in the end it might be worth it. Like working out isn't like waking up, going to the gym. That's difficult. That's suffering. But when you push yourself through it, you're getting stronger. You're making yourself healthy. So this is kind of where I'm trying to look at this. Is right now it feels really. I'm feeling off because I'm so used to having the THC in my system. But also it's probably good for me to take a break because I really haven't in a really long time. And so. Oh, Zuzu says, gotta take off and make dinner. See you around, Kyle, and see you very soon, Elliot. All right, Zuzu, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Have a good time making dinner, and yeah, you'll definitely see me. I probably won't be back until next week. I'm probably just gonna vibe at home, because another thing, along with the diet, along with giving up weed, it's like, you want to try to regulate your social media intake, how much news you're taking in, what kind of stuff you're watching. So I think, like, stuff that would bring up more negative emotions, or like have like maybe violent imagery, maybe it would put you in a weird place if you're about to go in. So I'm like, maybe I watch like Avatar or like something fun. But I'm gonna try to keep mostly to myself, because this was one I wasn't expecting that he mentioned on Sunday, and it wasn't in like the email or anything. But I had read it on a couple of other like preparation guides. Is one of the big things is you want to avoid sexual interactions of any kind because of the energy exchange that happens during that. And it's even like you don't want to release, do any sort of self-release either, because that's a release of energy and you're trying to keep everything in. So it's like no weed, no masturbation. like no. And honestly, I've been pretty much off of red meat and a lot of stuff. I've been working my way towards being plant-based for a while. So that wasn't the biggest change, but it's like, you're telling me I have to go a week with no weed and no jerking off? What is this blasphemy? But I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put up with it. I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Anyway, I have had a really nice time chatting with y'all. I know this is a short stream, only like a little over an hour, but I'm trying to remove myself from like the thought that a stream has to be a certain length. A stream can be whatever length I want it to be. My music streams are usually an hour, so I guess a chatting stream can be an hour. This is about how much energy I have to be on camera and to talk today. So I am going to bring things down for a bit. However, I am going to see if there's anybody we can raid. Maybe I can bring anybody over, but no, I think I'm just going to end it today. It looks like I think that's the best way to do it. But thank you so much to everyone who's been here today. It's been very lovely. I'm going to say likely every time. I don't like you. I just like you. It's yours. Do what you want. Exactly. Very nice chatting with everybody today. Having these open conversations. It feels good to get a lot of this like out there. Like, yeah, I allegedly use plant medicines and have found them. And I do want to put a disclaimer on everything I've been saying. It works for me. I don't think it's not necessarily for everyone. These experiences, this kind of stuff. It's something that has very much helped me through my mental health journey, through getting better, through like, acceptance of self and like giving insight. However, there are certain people who it might not be for them. Having very intense active compounds in your body might not be for you. But so I just want to put that extreme disclaimer at the end of this is all from my experience, and I don't claim that this is going to help everyone. I'm not trying to say that this is like the thing that's going to help everyone. It's just what helps me, and I'm just really happy to be able to have a community that's accepting and like-minded around it. Because for a long time, I felt very alone in being like the plant medicine guy. I'm like, oh man, nobody listens to me. Everyone thinks I'm insane. Oh, you're sarcastic. Anyway, it's been awesome being here. Thank you guys so much for being around, being a part of this community. And I'll see you sometime next week. Until then, goodbye!